as opposed to, I think when I started, I was thinking more from an encyclopedic kind of memorization, like, oh, I'll know Python with a capital P. But PDM gave me, I think, the tools and the muscle to kind of develop my own process to be able to, learn more and scale my abilities with Python.
Welcome, Tim. Welcome to this little mini interview about your journey in Pybites Developer Mindset, or PDM. Thanks for joining. And first of all, tell us a bit about who are you and what do you do for a living?
Well, thanks, Bob. It's really great to be here to talk more about PDM. So I'm Tim Gallati. I'm a Cybrarian at Oracle, which is where you and I met, Bob. What's a Cybrarian? A Cybrarian is essentially a librarian from the future. So what we do is essentially help people get the information they need to do their jobs. So everything from competitive intelligence to data services to learning resources, we're there to support the whole company. So that's what I do.
Awesome. No, I love that. That's very interesting. And back in the day, we had some good collaborations on that. It was really fun. So where were you in your career when you started PDM, and why did you join the program?
Yeah, so I had just joined Oracle. This was about a year ago. This was the end of 2019. And I was, very primed. I had done a role previously that was very similar to this role. And it was a lot of processes that I was involved with in terms of data that were very manual. So I had the skills, I had the data management skills, but I was using Access for databases, Excel for pivots and formulas, and then pumping a lot of that stuff into BI tools. So it was a lot of wrist copy and pasting, typing out of formulas. And it just really occurred to me, I had heard about Python and, was just looking for a way to make my life easier, but also to scale a lot of what we were doing. And that's when I learned about Python, your skills, and PDM in general.
Automate the boring stuff, right?
Exactly.
Cool. So yeah, you got into Python and you wanted to take it to the next level, and you had a clear goal at work to facilitate that data analysis or that data preparation. So flashing forward then, what were the results you got from the program?
Yeah, there's just so many. I think if I had to pick just a few, I really first of all, I realized that I could do it. I am not a developer. I had not coded previously. I had taken intro courses maybe 10 years ago, hello world kind of stuff. So I knew about loops and so forth, but I had not been a scripter. This was completely new to me. So what PDM showed me was that I could actually do it. And I went from this really general thirst to learn Python, like to automate the boring stuff, like Python, like a capital P. And what I learned from PDM, in addition to the fact that I could do it, was just a process of how you can actually learn new things and do new things with Python. It's really, you're limited by your imagination. So if I'm trying to pull an API and massage the data and just get, people with the first name Henry or something, like if that's a use case, if that's the business case, I can now think about, well, how do I do that? I can Google it. I can use other people's code to leverage that's publicly available. I can look at new libraries. I can figure it out, as opposed to, I think when I started, I was thinking more from an encyclopedic kind of memorization, like, oh, I'll know Python with a capital P. But PDM gave me, I think, the tools and the muscle to kind of develop my own process to be able to, learn more and scale my abilities with Python. So those are the big takeaways for me.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's not so much about Python per se, context managers, decorators, whatever concept we could teach you. I think that meta skill of learning how to learn and defend yourself as a developer or becoming a developer and know where to look, that's massive, right? So like now, I guess you're way more confident to, if you would have to work with another Python library to just pick it up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. So What did you feel? What were your emotions when you started working with us? Were you excited, nervous? What was going on in your head?
Yeah, it was really both of those things, but mostly excited because the results came pretty quickly. So the kind of work that we were doing that I had asked to learn about was looking at APIs, pulling data. So, right away, just to see the data come in was really exciting. And there's a lot of, um, there's a little bit of nervousness about like, can I do this and am I going to get stopped? But once you start to see these little results come through, like drips and drabs of the actual progress of the things you're scripting and the data coming in, the data getting manipulated and stored somewhere, the little wins really added up quickly, and those were inspiring. Like that's really, I mean, just right away, that was something that really helped for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I think in your case, we had two specific projects. So having the ideas and the planning and the mind maps, as we had that on day one, then iterate over the feature, so to say. I think you saw the result. It was very tangible, right?
Yeah. Seeing those JSON come back was was really nice.
Yeah, don't talk about XML to dictionary conversions and missing keys, right?
War stories, yeah.
The trenches. Yeah,
That's
cool.
right.
So I think that leads into my question of what's the favorite part of the program? What was that for you?
Oh gosh, just being able to do what I dreamt I wanted to be able to do. So to automate this stuff first of all, but then to have all these new possibilities available. So, one of our projects was essentially pulling a bunch of research articles as being a librarian on a particular subject, noise pollution, but not just having it. So like, maybe you could do something where you're manually pulling it from a database or something and put them in your file folder and so forth. But what we were able to do is build a search tool that is run off the cloud, a database in the cloud. And that's something I could, if I were to do that, it would just take, 3 of me to do, and it would be a bulky process. So it was really thrilling just to be able to do things that I think in my profession are there, or sort of tools that we either have to leverage, purchase, or, piggyback on, and to create your own and, just be limited by that of what's out there that we can pull
That's
from Python. Yeah.
that's awesome. So fully
Yeah.
customized and something you can take back to the workplace, right?
Oh yeah. In spades.
So I think was that your aha moment in PDM? Like it's possible I can actually build my tools, or what was the aha moment that PDM or our approach brought about for you?
It's I would say the aha moment was actually in a particular tool. It was in SQL Academy. So this is a little in the weeds, but just the fact that I could use Python to do SQL stuff, I'll just say there, was a huge win for me, because as we've been sort of alluding to, we're dealing with databases and trying to massage and manipulate data. And the fact that that was possible in a very powerful tool set, like right out of the box, like my mind kind of blew. So I not only had that as something to work with, but then I had my marching orders of like, I got to learn this. Like, this is really something that in one script, I could integrate a lot of different functionalities. So that was the aha moment of just like, oh, we're doing a lot more than just, say, calling an API or, plotting or whatnot. There's a lot more out there. And it went from Python from a capital P to sort of a lowercase p, and like it being a platform that I can think more broadly about. That was the aha moment for me.
Awesome. So could we say, like, if you would be learning Python by other methods, it's way more isolated and maybe toy examples, and bringing it all together into a bigger project, that was kind of the revelation?
Yeah, because all the learning I've encountered so far is things like, learn pandas, or, learn this, specific little area, this little niche. And, you can kind of get blinders on with that. And you're able to do those exercises, and they're really curated really well. So you follow what they do, you feel like you can do what they do. But then when it comes to like, wow, this API, like you said, returns XML and it's a disaster. Like, what do I do? That's not pandas, I know pandas. So that was the aha moment, is seeing like, oh, there's different tools and they each have their place, and go out there and learn them, grab them. They're out there.
Yeah, wasn't that what Mike Tyson's mentor said, like, we all have a plan until we get hit in the face, right? Sometimes I think these PDM projects feel like that. Like I thought I had it figured out.
Right.
Well, not so much. And even on the other side here, helping. Yeah? It's a learning process for us as well, but that's also the beautiful part.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say one of the great value adds and aha moments was actually our coding sessions and watching us together and then watching your process too, because it's very rare. I don't have any background. I haven't worked with a coder before. So it was really valuable for me to see you work and how you do it. And the fact that like you are not, like you're not the meta brain for Python and have everything memorized. You have a process too to redo this and relearn this with us, and that was really powerful because then it empowered me to say, oh, okay, this is a human person who does this really well and I'm learning a lot from, but there's always upskilling to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. For example, well, we don't go too much in detail, but I was working on Fast API with somebody. I also got stuck. So we both got stuck, it's just that I have certain methods then to maybe get unstuck, but I equally get stuck, that's and that's good. And that will always be the case because we're always having to learn new frameworks and tools. So
Yep, that's where we grow.
Exactly. Cool. So a bit about your life then. How did your life change through PDM or in a broader scale, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I think I had mentioned, and I'll reiterate again. I mean, it's changed the short and sort of long-term trajectory of my career. Like there's like been a new vector and a new branch added. So, just internally, we're able to now, because I'm able to do this work in Python and automate a lot of this data work, our team is now we just learned actually that we're going to be able to incorporate our data, like all of our learning data, into a BI tool that's being supported just by selection of just a few teams that are allowed to put their data in this data warehouse and this BI tool. We're going to be able to do that in 2021. We've been allotted that space. So this is like night and day of like me and Excel versus now we're going to have this automated, wonderful self-service BI tool. And there's no way that would have happened. So data and all of that has become a much bigger piece, but it's also made our team and myself much more just powerful and robust. And so data is growing. I'm, as you know, I'm going to be teaching a data course at UCLA. And so this is going to be a component that we can bring to that class too. And it just has really excited me about, I had not imagined, I don't have a statistics background. I had not imagined data in my career, but as a data manager with my library background, Python has completely, grown, allowed me to grow from somebody who was siloed to somebody who can work with data scientists now as a data manager. So it's completely changed. It's really powerful.
Nice. I'm really happy to hear that it's not only those specific project skills you can take back to the workplace, but it opened up a lot of avenues for you as well. And you're even teaching the data class. That's really exciting, and that will do you a lot of good in terms of cementing your own knowledge and then spreading it, have students. So I'm really happy to hear that. So if you could tell somebody that's on the fence about PDM or who's even in PDM and not getting the momentum, what is one piece of advice you would give them?
Yeah, I would say the toughest part and biggest growing point for me was just when you get stuck, that's actually the moment. That's the breakthrough moment. Like that's actually what you want. We don't come to PDM to do what we know. We come to PDM to do the things and learn the things that we don't know. And it's it can be difficult because we're siloed and we're coding, but there's just, I would say, take advantage of what PDM offers in terms of the one-on-one coding, the community of PDM folks who you can reach out to for support. It's something that you can. you can really, if you can re-understand those stuck moments as like the moments of why you're in PDM in the first place, and that you're going to be able to get out of those moments. Whereas if you were not in PDM, it actually could be an absolute sticking point for you. And I can say for myself, but prior to PDM, what stopped me was not just coding, but all the other technology that can get in the way of you getting stuck or something not working. Like knowing Git, knowing setting your environment up. I mean, all of these things were points that, are well curated in a class, but when you try and do it on your own, it's easy to get stuck. So it's great when you get stuck and reach out to all the points of contact at PDM so that you can learn what it is that is what's happening and what that process is to get unstuck.
That's a great piece of advice. I think a good closing as well. Do you have any final words before we wrap it up?
I just, well, first I'll tell a quick story, and then I just want to say thank you to PDM, and you've made all my wildest Python dreams come true. I couldn't have imagined doing the things that I'm doing now, and the opportunities that have grown. We've talked about how I was recently interviewed for an article in Wired, and part of what it was all about noise pollution, and that's there's a PDM project that we were working on about getting articles on noise pollution, research articles, and surfacing that so journalists and so forth can freely go and take a look at the research. But those are the kinds of outcomes that would never have been possible for me. So I've been able to augment my skill set in that. But I told you this story, and I'll tell it again about how my partner in this 10-week course, I've been getting up, really early in the morning to do this, to do it before work. And she's had no idea other than for 10 weeks that I'm hunched in front of my computer doing this Python stuff. And at the end of the 10 weeks, I was like, hey, let me show you. She was like, oh, is that what you're doing? And I told her about this search tool with the articles, and she's like, that's so interesting, that's so cool. Can I see it? And I'm like, yeah, let me show you. And so when I showed her, she got so excited. She was like, that's what you've been doing? She didn't even know. She's like, that is the best. That is so cool. And she just was over the moon. She had no idea that I could do it, let alone I had no idea I could do that. So it was just a really great moment to see like somebody who's outside of this world kind of, of trying to code and upskill in these places, just see the power that is there. And, I don't think, I know she cares for me, but I don't know that she knew that I could do it. So the proof was in the pudding, and it was just a great moment where we could celebrate together. So thank you to PDM for, all these sort of side wins that have come all the way through the program.
Yeah, the fruits of your labor, right? Because you're also pretty disciplined about getting up early, and then all of a sudden, after a few weeks, you have this app. Yeah, you have this app, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's a really great story. Thanks for sharing that. Really happy to hear that. Cool. Yeah. So no, really happy to hear, and then keep up the momentum. Right now, so we didn't just give you the fish; we taught you how to fish, and now go fishing, right? So go expand on that knowledge. And yeah, really happy to hear that you have that baseline now.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much, Bob. Great course, and yeah, everybody out there, it's got a lot. It's got a lot of great stuff. So
And we want to thank you for how you brought yourself to the program and what you put in. A really great example what you put in and what you got out. So thank you as well.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Bob. You too.